It's time for Coach's Corner on KCCR, presented by the South Dakota Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection. Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com is also brought to you by Bank West, Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Todd's Electric, Oahe Federal Credit Union, Shane's Pharmacy, Missouri River Dentistry, CHS River Plains, Edward Jones Financial, Ferding Electric, First Dakota National Bank, Gales Gas, and Lamb Motors. And now, your host for Coach's Corner, John Winkler.
And a good evening as we welcome you here inside the KCCR studios for one edition of Coach's Corner, which will be a Steve Steele edition of Coach's Corner. He will be our only guest today. We'll have two segments with him. We'll have some fun talking about the game itself coming up on Friday and getting ready for that contest, and have a little bit of fun and have some extra conversations on the side in a separate segment as well. So we appreciate Coach Steele sticking around and being a big a part of Coach's Corner here tonight and getting ready as we are transitioning from fall into winter. There'll be some practices that will start next week, Monday, and then wrestling will get going. Basketball will start to get rolling in a couple weeks. Hockey is going next weekend as well. That's all upcoming, but here this weekend, and with the limited number of teams that are and no Central South Dakota teams in the state volleyball championships, this will be our lone conversation. We'll have two segments with Coach Steele coming up here this evening. Coach's Corner is brought to you by the South Dakota Office of Attorney General Consumer Protection Agency, and we appreciate their sponsorship. We will be back with Steve Steele coming up next here on KCCR.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota in Pierre is proud to sponsor today's game. Whether you're in the market for a brand new Ford, Lincoln, or Toyota, or a quality pre-owned vehicle, our team is here to get you back on the road in style. From tough trucks to family SUVs, we've got the selection you need and the hometown service you deserve. Browse online anytime at CapitalCityFordToyota.com. Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, where community drives us forward.
It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pierre area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
Hey you. Are you at a job that is fulfilling, has good benefits to support you or a family today, and retirement goes down the road? If you just said no, listen up. CHS River Plains is hiring operations personnel, drivers, and custom applicators at several locations. These come with a knockout affordable benefit package for you and the whole family. Apply to a job with CHS River Plains and up your benefits straight up. To apply, visit us online at chsriverplains.com or stop in at one of our locations. CHS is an equal opportunity employer.
That's a clown question, bro.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Join me as Coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors, as they get set for the state championship game coming up on Friday against the Yankton Bucks. They're looking for the 8th title in the last 9 years, 9 straight trips to the state championship. I was going to say the Dakota Dome, but there's a wrinkle in there with the trip to Brookings in 2019. But 9 straight ninth straight trip to the. It's hard to say.
There you go.
When you've been saying it for every single year. It gets harder to say every time. But the fun of this, and I tried to make sure when Mendel and I were on the air at the end, was you can't take for granted what this run has been for the Pierre Governors. And I know for you as coaches, the one thing that makes it easy to not take for granted is because it's a new team every single year. From when we started 9 years ago on the run that you guys were on in 2017, those kids are no longer in high school anymore. They're no longer in college either. There's a whole set of new kids. But for this community to see all this, to not take it for granted, I mean, this is a special run that all these kids have been able to do, this peer coaching staff has been able to do for the last 9 years.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think you see this time of year all the memories pop up. I saw one this year. One of Binger, our defensive lineman, was getting his shirt signed by Gray Zabel in 2017, and Gray Zabel looks like an infant child.
Right.
And now he's playing for the Seattle Seahawks, and Devin Binger's a nose guard for the Govs. We chatted about that in practice this week. Like freshmen, you don't know anything different, but that doesn't mean that we're going to get there. When they came up for the playoffs, there's a good portion of the freshmen were still in daycare.
Yeah.
When the last time we weren't. They don't know any different. But, just because it's happened that many times doesn't mean it gets to happen again if you don't do the things that you're supposed to be doing. And again, I applaud our guys for ensuring that they didn't take those things for granted and found a way to do everything they needed to do to get us back to this point.
And we'll talk about this Huron game from last Friday. You open up back-to-back drives, scoring touchdowns where you didn't score 2 touchdowns in the game the first time you played Huron. You're able to cash in. Well, granted, the one red zone trip you got backed out of the red zone and still found a way to score, and then you didn't even make the red zone because Jaron Deal took it 47 yards all the way to score. But you guys were able to cash in, able to score right away, and this group was so excited from the Thursday night after you beat T, finding out that Huron had knocked off Brookings. Those guys were excited up there that we're still talking to in the post-game show, and the excitement was there because you guys want to go and beat the teams that beat you. Not that you're picking who you're wanting to play, but you get excited for every team that you're playing, especially these last 2 teams, these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think it has anything to do with easier, harder, or anything. They just wanted them because we lost. We don't like to lose, and Huron beat us in the regular season, so they wanted to go and rectify that. And I think it was the exact same way with Yankton. Yankton beat us in the regular season, and the guys just want the opportunity to go back and right that wrong. And they're going to have that opportunity on Friday, and I know they're still all really excited about it.
And being able to do that last Friday, when you got to start to practice this week, did not being complacent of, well, we did it last week, so we're just going to do it this week. Obviously, that's not going to be the case of just because you did it last week doesn't mean you're going to do it this week. Did you have the guys responded at all about that, or been able to? You're not seeing anything of being complacent, knowing that you did it last week and wanting to do it this week?
No, the biggest thing that we focused on, mentality wise, has just been expecting to win. You guys are good. You should expect to win the game. You don't want to hope to win the game. You want to expect it. You control your destiny. You want to go in and you want to take it. And, I think that being able to go and flip the script on Huron gives us a ton of confidence. And you've seen it with the guys this week. It gives them a lot of confidence that we're going to be able to go and do the same thing here again this weekend.
You face Yankton, or you face Huron early second week of the season. You face Yankton just a couple weeks later, so it's still early in the season. It was still September. Now we're in the month of November. So a lot of things changes. Obviously, everybody here that's listening to Coach's Corner knows the Pierre Governors have changed quite a bit with the personnel due to injuries. But for Yankton and for the Governor fans, what's maybe stood out that's changed about this Yankton team so far?
Yeah, I think they've learned a lot about their team over the course of the season. They've had a couple injuries that have banged them up. And I just think that they've found some new weapons. That's always kind of the double-edged sword of injuries. It stinks for the senior or whoever gets hurt. But when someone steps up and replaces them and does really well, maybe they do something that you didn't expect or see from them before. And they do it once they get into that position. And I think Yankton's seen that with a couple guys. 16's excelled really well in their little quarterback package they've put him in. They've had 25 had to step in on defense for him, and he had a really good game in the semifinal. So, I think that most of their changes are personnel. Offensively, there's a few schematic deals, just playing to 16 strengths over 10s. But I'd say that's probably the biggest area they've changed is they've probably learned, just like we've learned about their players and learned some new skills that maybe were hidden or just not featured before that now they're featuring.
I think, obviously it's hard to beat a good team twice. And obviously you're the team that is trying not to be beat twice. Yankton has to go beat a good team twice. But for both coaching staffs, and you see it throughout every year that you usually in the playoffs, whether you win the state championship or not, you're playing teams for a second time and you're trying to maybe beat them for a second time. What's the difficulty of coaching and game planning and saying you don't want to be the exact same, but you don't want to reinvent the wheel of offense or defense? Change, you don't want to scrap everything and try something new. And if it worked the first time, do you want to say, well, it worked the first time, so it's not going to work the second time? Do you feel like sometimes your mind's going at a pace of you're just kind of spinning circles on how you want to game plan for a game against a team for a second time?
Not really. For us especially, just because we can't be the same.
That's true.
30% of our offense is different whether we want to be the same or not. And if you run the same stuff, it's going to look different with that many different people. So, so I guess for us, it really wasn't. Offensively, it wasn't really the case. And even defensively, I think we've changed so much and we've put so much more in over the course of the year that there's just a ton of options. And that's what's fun is you're kind of picking and choosing, what options match with what thing the best, what thing that Yankton would give us, to our defense. And I just know they've had a lot of fun this week and, figuring out what they want to put out against what formation and, what motion does what thing. And, I think that's always the fun part of game planning a second time is you kind of saw what you got the first time. So you're ready for it, but then you're also kind of snowballing of, okay, so if we take this away, what do they go to next? And you kind of go down a couple rabbit holes like that.
One thing too with the state championship week is it's a very busy week for you, for everybody, but you have a lot of interviews that you got to do over the course, and all the radio stations that are broadcasting the game as well, the TV that's broadcasting, the newspapers that are calling, the other online things. How do you sleep at night? Like how little sleep do you get throughout the course of this week?
Usually, it's always just a little bit of a challenge because those are all in your calendar, so my phone will ding and say, come talk to John Winkler, or whatever, whoever it is. But your phone doesn't always ding and say, did you get your meal check cut? Do you have your starters sent to all 78 people that need their starters? Right. It doesn't always ding for those little things that are on a to-do list somewhere, but they're not on a calendar. So I'd say, I probably go to bed great every night, but it's if you randomly think, oh my gosh, did I do that? And then you think up and then you're like, I don't remember if I did that. And then you're trying to almost plug things into your calendar at, an 8 a.m. alarm saying, hey, make sure you send your starters, make sure you're doing this or doing that. Because that's more than likely the logistical side that'll get you.
Yeah, it's got to be, it's fun because, it's a hectic week and it's a stressful week, but
it's a lot better than equipment check-in.
That's exactly right. You'll take this every single year. You enjoy it every single. You may not enjoy every aspect of the week leading up to it, but you'll take it over not having to do all this stuff every week.
Definitely, it's definitely better than being equipment check-in, and just getting ready to drive down by yourself to go to the All-State meeting on Friday. So, it's a busy week. It's a hard week. It's a grinding week, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
And what's fun, and obviously you probably haven't really thought about it, but state championships are starting tomorrow at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., and then there's a 10 a.m. and a 2 p.m. game on Friday. Saturdays are noon and 7, but those Thursday morning and the Friday morning games, you get to play at 7 o'clock Friday night. So everything how nice is it to not have to change your routine at all because you're playing at 7 o'clock at Friday instead of playing, because it was a noon Friday game when you guys played in Brookings in 2019. Things kind of changed. A lot of things change a little bit in your routine, how nice is it at state championship week with everything else going on that your routine can mostly stay the same?
Yeah, I mean, that part's really a great benefit to us. You know what I mean? And it'd be a great benefit to anybody to have that 7 o'clock slot, you know, and even the 9-man games on, I can't remember which one's the 7 o'clock game.
Yeah,
at night on Thursday.
9AA.
I mean, that one is still, I mean, you play two Thursday games at 7 o'clock. You know, you've at least done that before where you've played Friday and then had a short week to prepare. So, I mean, I'd say it's definitely nicer for those coaching staffs just to be able to stay a little bit more in the routine of everything. And, you know, hopefully that carries in and makes it a little bit cleaner game.
We're talking with Coach Steve Steele here, the Pierre Governors, as they take on the Yankton Bucks Friday night, 7 o'clock kickoff. We'll have coverage at 6:30 here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Coach, we're going to do a little fun thing here. We're actually going to take a commercial break, and we're going to come back and talk to you some more. How's that sound?
Sweet.
Yeah, you get to stay here even longer in the KCCR studios. We'll be back with more Coach's Corner. We're going to be talking with Coach Steele coming up here in the next segment coming up here in just a little bit. KCCR, you are listening to Coach's Corner here on KCCR.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
No one likes to have electrical problems, but when they happen, call Todd's Electric at 223-2518. With over 30 years of experience, Todd's Electric can handle any type of electrical problem, whether it's residential, commercial, or agriculture. Their knowledgeable staff knows and understands the importance of your home, business, or ag facility and are prepared to help. That number again is 223-2518. Todd's Electric Service, serving the Pierre-Fort Pierre area. Todd's Electric Service, the line to power. Score big on your next vehicle purchase with Lamb Motor Company in Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre. Check out their large selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs at any one of their locations or go online to lambmotor.com. That's LAMBMOTOR.com. Or give them a call today at 800-952-2222. Lamb Motor Company of Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your health care is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined, so y'all can sit here and ask me all the questions y'all want to. I'm going to answer with the same answer, so y'all can shoot if y'all please.
This is Coach's Corner on your home for the Pierre Governors, KCCR, and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com, as Steve Steele still in studio with us talking about the state championship coming up on Friday, and we'll have coverage here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We'll get into the end of this contest, but when you get to this week, Coach, and you have all the everything it's about Pierre Governor football and about getting ready for the Governor football team. You know, what's one thing for you to be able to step away? Maybe it is watching more football, just not the Pierre Governors and Yankton Bucks trying to get ready for the game. What helps you kind of relieve a little bit of stress or just kind of get away from everything? What'd you do this weekend, and how'd you kind of handle all of that getting ready for the state championship week?
Yeah, you know, I don't know that there was a ton of stepping away. Over since the Huron game. I think that night, the bus ride home. We stopped at the gas station truck stop deal in Wessington or Wolsey, whatever, right around the curve.
Wolsey,
there,
yeah.
Wolsey. And I said that was just it was a fun little moment. Fun little ride home. Just the kids' excitement. Probably not the gas station attendant excitement of that many 2 buses worth of kids being in there. But just those are the moments that really make everything all worth it. When everybody's just got that genuine happiness. And everyone's excited and ready to go for the next one. And you're making it to the end. So I would say that was a really good, fun trip home. And then we got home and got right back to work. And I don't know that we've stopped working there since. So hopefully we can have one more good game and one more good moment just like that.
Well, you mentioned gas stations. Coach Slice, he continues to want to be talking about Mount Rushmore of things. And his Mount Rushmore for me to ask you and get your opinion is the Mount Rushmore of gas stations in the state of South Dakota. So not necessarily maybe the brand of the gas station, but where you stop, where the best places are to stop, in your opinion, whether it be on a bus trip for the Pierre Governors or maybe hockey trips that you've taken, or just in general when you travel family-wise, you stop at a gas station somewhere. So the Mount Rushmore of gas stations in the state.
Okay, that's a really awkward question here.
Yeah, making you think.
All right.
He tripped you up. I tripped you up a little bit.
Well, within Pierre, Circle K is our closest one. That's the one that's on the way in for me each and every day. I don't know if that matters or not. But in terms of if we're looking outside of Pierre, whenever we're going somewhere, I would say the truck stop north of Sioux Falls.
Okay.
That one's
the Flying J right there.
Yeah, the Flying J. That one's one that's utilized quite a bit. There's one in Mitchell with a Jimmy John's attached.
Okay.
That one would be another one that I think would be there. Oh boy.
Got 2 more. Or
well, it depends if we call the Circle K or not. I would say though there's one on the west side of Watertown. That would be our stop when we're going to Watertown.
Okay.
That might be like a Texaco or something.
I can't remember now either.
But anyways, though, it's on the west side of town. It's got a restaurant attached.
I do know what you're talking about. Yep.
So, we can use the Circle K for the not having to come up with another one. But yeah, that's a interesting dealio.
He said, Coach Slice, he gave me his too. He said it's hard to beat the coffee cup in Vivian.
Yep, that would be a good one.
He said wall drug.
No.
Okay, well, he also said later that it's technically not a gas station. So he can't. He gave me 4, but he also put the coffee cup in Vivian twice. He gave me 5 technically, but the coffee cup was twice. He said the tie between Flying J Travel Center in Sioux Falls and the coffee cup fuel stop in Hartford being one. So technically he gave me like 6 answers, but 1 was a repeat. So he's also not understanding how many presidents are on Mount Rushmore. And his last one is the Pump and Pack in Miller. So those were his 4. A little free advertisement for the gas stations. I guess it is what it is. But for someone, obviously we are a state or a town that travels a lot and goes to a lot of gas stations. We're probably one of the few places here in central South Dakota that understand how important a good gas station is in the state.
Yeah, and if you were going to go the chains type, there's Casey's. Casey's in Redfield would probably be one I should put on there.
Okay.
I don't remember if we were just going not in Pierre, then we'll go the Casey's in Redfield.
There you go. Then there'll be the 4 outside of Pierre.
Yeah, because that's come in handy on many a hockey trip.
Yep.
Where you leave Aberdeen and we'd have Coach Katilnik would call in a pizza order to Redfield as we're leaving Aberdeen, so that when we get there, we're ready to gas up and get some pizza. So yeah, I would say that would have to round it out.
And that's the other thing too, is knowing what gas stations to go to, but also having the phone numbers to get food ready to go for that gas station, because you stop there so much. It's like calling in a takeout order somewhere in town or whatever. Like, hey, we're at this spot, so this is the time now to call in to get our pizza ready to go.
Yeah.
One of those things that I think Central South Dakota understands that maybe a lot of the rest of the state doesn't understand.
Yeah, you're pretty used to getting back late.
Yeah.
If you're from Central South Dakota. I know that's a novel concept to some places, but within Central South Dakota, an after midnight arrival time is pretty standard.
You also get to know what gas stations are open
Correct.
past midnight and
Yep.
what gas stations are closed by 10 o'clock at night.
And that's crazy enough. That's because that's usually on all of our football trips. We usually get pizza delivered to the buses, but then we go to the closest 24-hour gas station. Or, like I know after our Yankton trip, Nye had called, Bonham area. I can't think of the town that's Bonham. That would be the Bonham School District, but Tabor. He called the Tabor Casey's, and the Tabor Casey's was like, yeah, we'll stay open for you. It's another 20 minutes or whatever. But, it's a real deal when you're thinking about getting done with a football game at 10 or 10:30, leaving about 11, and finding a place for the kids to go and get some goodies for the ride home. So, it is. I understand the question now.
Yeah,
it makes a lot more sense.
It is, something that maybe, again, I never would have thought about, but you're like, yeah, you probably do have your favorite spots to stop on a road trip. Again, depending on where you're going, your favorite spots to stop on a road trip.
Very valid.
Again, getting ready for this game, and kind of talking about things that happen after the game, a chance and for everybody to kind of celebrate after. We have it every single year. One of the local establishments there in Vermilion, an opportunity to for the fans to get together and the players to, obviously it's been pretty happy occasions last year. Obviously you don't want what happened last year to be the occasion this year. You want to be able to celebrate again, but it's such a fun deal, and you get to see so much of the support. It's not just parents that show up, not just players. There's a lot of people that show up after a game on Friday night of the state championship game.
Yeah, and it's always really extra special because you always see so many former players.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, some are probably down there in Vermilion because they go there. Some make the trek down to watch. But it's always really special to see the interaction, between the former players and the current players and the coaching staff, and and just it's just one big family, and I think that's always a fun part of it is just seeing that celebration as kind of one big family again, and kind of celebrating, all the old players that come in have their war stories that they want to tell, and like, oh, you guys had it so much easier, this and that, and it's always a treat to go and just reconnect with those guys and kind of celebrate together.
And you put on Facebook and share it across, and players will send in letters and notes of encouragement and everything to former players. Will do that for the current players. Again, 9 years ago, whenever you guys went to that first state championship in 2017, as you as the head coach, and seeing some of those letters from guys that were playing 9 years ago that are now watching this team play this year, the specialty of a family of what football does and the family that it brings in to connect 2017 to 2025.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch those and to see those grow over the course of time. I think the first year when we did that, we might have gotten a handful, partially because I didn't know a lot of the alumni, and, it was different. Last year I think we had almost 30 or over 30, and now it's to the point where the kids don't even have time to read all of them sometimes because, you get a limited amount of time in the dome. So it's always a challenge. We're hustling to get those things up as soon as we get there, and we got them in 2 locations, the kids to spread out. And but it's just always really cool, and it's even fun to see some of the guys that wrote them multiple years and see how their perspective changes. I think the fresh out of high school, the ones that are still in college, you kind of hear a little bit fierier tone. There may be 4-letter words included in some of those ones, and then you kind of see them as they get older, and the perspective changes just a little bit. So I said it's been really fun as a coach to see those guys write year in and year out, the same ones, and kind of see how they change. But every single one of them, regardless, means a lot to the kids, and it's something that they spend a lot of time when we get to the dome doing.
As our time is running short, and if you didn't catch the first segment, you go to YouTube at KCCR Sports and listen to that first segment with Coach Steele. This one being a little bit more of a fun conversation to not talk X's and O's, but we will finish, because we didn't finish with the last segment talking about it. We'll finish with this one. Biggest key, ask it every single week, biggest key for the Pierre Governors to win the state championship coming up on Friday.
Yeah, I think if you looked at last year's game, I think it was a probably overall sloppy for a state title game. There's a lot of penalties. There's a lot of mistakes. There wasn't really a ton of big plays because they just, for whatever reason weren't made, or a penalty brought them back. I think the cleaner the game, the better that we'll have an opportunity to do. I think we should be hopefully feeling good about where we're at, feeling confident, and we just got to play that way. So no mistake-free football game. Hopefully that's what gets it done for us.
Coach, appreciate the time as always. Looking forward to this game Friday night. It's always fun to be in the Dakota Dome. It's going to be warm Friday throughout the entire day, so it's not going to be like last Friday when it was pretty cold.
Not as warm as it'll be inside the dome.
I was going to say, I'm appreciating the dome even more so this year because it was pretty cold at the end of the night last Friday night, but we will enjoy the nice warmth of the Dakota Dome. Appreciate the time as always. Good luck on Friday.
Thanks, John.
As head coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governor, is back with more Coaches Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
Look, it's no secret that owning a vehicle can cause a lot of stress, and they get a lot of wear and tear on them through every season. Graham Tire wants you to know that you can trust them with any problem that you have with your vehicle. They have fully trained ASE certified mechanics on staff, ready to handle it for you. From brakes and bearings to alignments and front ends. Let their experience work for you. Over 50 years combined means you can count on them. So if it's time for a transmission flush or even a simple oil change, the only name you need to know is Graham Tire, 421 West Sioux Avenue in Pierre.
Did you know it is important for your child to see the dentist at the time their first tooth erupt? A healthy smile begins at birth, and there are many variables, from healthy eating habits to good oral hygiene and routine dental care. Hi, I am Dr. Michelle Hofer. At Missouri River Dentistry, we enjoy working with people of all ages. Dentistry is our profession, but people are our focus. I invite families to come experience an office that uses the latest techniques and equipment to be sure you receive that healthy and happy smile. To schedule your appointments for your family, call us at 223-2021. Kids love us, parents trust us.
This fall, take some time to think about your future while the leaves make their way down to earth and the last sunset of summer leaves us with an autumn chill. It's time to grab the nearest foam finger and break out the face paint. Rush the stands with First Dakota National Bank and forget how to blink. Fall sports are back with jaw-dropping plays, an electric atmosphere, and epic scores. Make some noise with First Dakota National Bank. Open a new account online today at firstdakotanationalbank.com. Member FDIC.
Let me talk to you. You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
Yeah. And we welcome you back inside the KCCR studios as we wrap up another edition of Coach's Corner. Thanks to Steve Steele for sticking around and having a fun show with us here today. We will have more coaches coming up next week, and we're closing in on the Thanksgiving holiday. Obviously, when Christmas rolls around, we'll break for a couple weeks as well. But looking forward to fall sports that is wrapping up here this weekend and the volleyball state championships next weekend. We'll dive a lot into the winter sports season starting next week, Wednesday, but appreciate Coach Steele. It's a busy week for him, busy week for the Pierre Governor football team. They will be down in Yankton on Friday, and you can hear that game on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We will have Thursday night football tomorrow night. We've got 3 college football games and 3 NFL games Saturday and Sunday, with, of course, a sandwich in the middle of all that of the NFL and college slate Friday night right here on KCCR for the 11AA state championship between the Pierre Governors and the Yankton Bucks. That is upcoming here this week. And again, thanks to Coach Steele. That will wrap up this edition of Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR, presented by the South Dakota Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection. Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com is also brought to you by Bank West, Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Todd's Electric, Owyhee Federal Credit Union, Shane's Pharmacy, Missouri River Dentistry, CHS River Plains, Edward Jones Financial, Thording Electric, First Dakota National Bank, Gales Gas, and Lamb Motors. Join us each Wednesday at 5:30 on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com for more Coach's Corner. This has been a special presentation of Riverfront Broadcasting Sports, Central South Dakota's sports leader.